Hi, and welcome to 2.4a, 1-point perspective. Next lesson is 2.4b, 2-point perspective, but for now we'll just do one. So finishing up our pictorial drawing series, we have perspective, which is shown right here, and I can tell it's perspective. I can tell it's 1-point perspective because it's flat on the bottom, and it's going to go back to a vanishing point, as I said in the very first lesson. Only one vanishing point, and that's why it's called a 1-point perspective. And then the next lesson we did two. So a perspective drawing offers the most realistic three-dimensional view of all the pictorial methods because it portrays the object in a manner that is most similar to how the human eye perceives the visual world. There's 1-point, there's 2-point, and there's 3-point perspectives. This image is showing that things that are closer to you appear larger than things that are further away, even though we know those two yellow lines are the same size. It's obvious that in this two-dimensional representation, the one that's closer to you is larger, if you measured it with a ruler on the screen, than this tiny one in the background. So as things get further away, they get smaller. And the same could be said for this skyscraper image. As things get further away or higher up, they appear smaller. Shouldn't this just look like a normal rectangle? Isn't the building rectangular? It's not like actually a pyramid shape, but due to perspective, it does appear that way. So 1-point perspective. The 1-point perspective is relatively simple to make, I guess, but is somewhat awkward in appearance when compared to the other types of pictorials. A horizontal line represents the horizon. One vanishing point is identified on the horizon line, and a series of lines are drawn from distinctive points on the object to the vanishing point, outlining the object being constructed. The following slides show the steps in creating a 1-point perspective of the puzzle piece shown below. Two different methods will be demonstrated. If that last slide was a little confusing, and they were talking about the horizon line and the vanishing point, these next slides are going to help you out. And I'll even post a video of me doing the L shape in 1-point perspective as well, but this is just a little taste of what the method is. So we're going to continue doing the glass box in 1-point perspective. It's for all the pictorials. It helps with the scale. Sketch a horizon line. That's that red line on the top across the upper portion of the paper to represent the horizon, and identify a vanishing point. So you make a little dot, and they called it VP. The vanishing point can be placed anywhere along the horizon line. Typically, though, I'll put it in the upper right. Sketch the front face of the box representing the overall size of the object. The front face is constructed with vertical height lines and horizontal width lines. This step is identical to the oblique pictorials. So if you remember in the oblique pictorial, it's just started by drawing a square. For 1-point perspective, it starts the same way. For 2-point, it's almost like isometric, but for 1-point, it's like oblique. Sketch the construction lines from the corners of the front face of the box all the way back to the vanishing point. So these are just construction lines, and you're going to draw them all the way back, and it's going to look like an infinitely long rectangular prism. This isn't actually how deep the object is, but we're drawing them back to the vanishing point so that we know it's going to help give you that appearance of things further away being smaller. That's the point of the vanishing point, and drawing all the lines all the way back to that point. Sketch the visible back edges of the box to represent the overall size of the object. So you kind of have to eyeball where these lines should be based on the depth. Note that you'll have to estimate the depth of the object. So this is all up until this point, the sketching is all kind of technical sketching. You don't have to be really creative and have a good eye for art and what makes something look nice. Up until here, this is where you have to estimate and be a little artistic. So hopefully you were picturing the box being that big. Now we have the glass box. That's our glass box right there. Locate the points and construction lines to identify the corners and edges of the box on the surface of the box. So same process. Where does the object touch the box? And we're drawing this weird advanced L shape now that has a varying depth or a bumpy. So that's the corner of that bumpy, and then on the top, this is where it touches, and then you see that depth line, you go back to the vanishing point with that. It's going to happen again. So here it just goes straight up, and then boom, you go halfway up that line in the back, and then you draw a line that goes to the vanishing point. It's kind of nice. Use object lines to trace over the edges of the object on the visible surface. So again, they're saying, like, make your object lines here before you draw more construction lines, because it's about to get really confusing with the amount of construction lines we're going to draw inside the box. Continue to use construction lines to delineate the remaining corners and edges of the box inside the box. So you're just dropping back corners of those edges to the vanishing point, and you could probably tell it's going to get a little cluttered right now with all the construction lines happening. Just like, it's super easy. Trace over the construction lines with object lines to define the object. Nice. Oh, it's coming together now. Very nice there. Look at that. Method 2. I never do method 2, but it's in the Project Lead the Way PowerPoint. Boom. Vanishing point, same so far. Sketch the frontmost face of the object such that the height lines are vertical and the width lines are horizontal. So they're not doing the glass box for this one. Why do the glass box for everything else? But now they're just starting with the front little corner there. Then they're just like constructing it as they go. And I feel like this is going to be a lot tougher to do. It's a valid method for doing it in practice, but for this assignment, this is not allowed. I want to see the glass box. There's no glass box involved with this, and you know I love the glass box. But as you do more and more perspective drawings and you get better at it, like, this is a little cleaner. There's less construction line involved, and I guess if you're doing a lot of perspective drawings, this is a pretty good method. For this class, we don't do a ton of perspective drawings. This isn't like an art class where you would be doing that for a whole quarter. And then you would get really used to doing it and maybe try this without the glass box. That's why for this assignment, we're just doing the glass box. Then tonal shading, though. Look at that nice tonal shading. These are some examples of one-point perspective. You could see the vanishing point isn't to the right side, it's directly behind the object. And you could even have the vanishing point to the left as well. Do you guys know what that thing is on the right? Have you ever even seen one of those before? That's an iPod Shuffle from before there were iPhones. Cell phones didn't have big screens like that. They just looked like a normal house phone. What? You don't even have a house phone? Wow. All right, so you could probably predict what the assignment was going to be. You got to do all 5 Tetris shapes, follow the same rules. I want the right front view. I want you to use a ruler. That's especially important for this one because you're going to be drawing construction lines back to the vanishing point with a ruler. You need to use a ruler to do that. When you're done, do tonal shading, and don't include those lines that we talked about in the past. Make it look like one continuous shape. And that's about it. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.